The basal ganglia. What does it do? And, where the fuck did all this emotional retard shit come from my journal? Fun fact, as a stoic, I actually didn't do emotions. I thought they were stupid. And I also thought fear was stupid. And I can tell you why I believe that. I once upon a time had a very strong basal ganglia. A very strong basal ganglia. And this came up in, you guessed it, another conversation with anal-eating mummy god who fucking knew. In his conversation, he said that he hated Stoics. And he said that Stoics are great right up until you destroy the basal ganglia. And you guys will never guess what completely dissolves the basal ganglia. It's heavy metals! Wow! And you might go, Bobby, you're pretty emotionally dysregulated for a guy that used to be stoic and didn't do emotions and just sat quietly and observed things. How destroying the basal ganglia? Destroying the basal ganglia. Destroying the basal ganglia. Yeah. I've been trying to figure this out because my journal is nothing but retarded emotional shit, and it just pisses me off to no end because I've never done emotion ever. Regardless of how powerful my emotions were, I've always been able to just fucking ignore them. And now I'm an emotional retard, so fucking wonderful. So we're going to learn about the basal ganglia, and also the therapy retards on my YouTube that are like, we're helping him, we're going to send him videos about control. This isn't a joke. They literally did an ADHD video about controlling your emotions, and then they did other videos about control. You're asking somebody whose emotional control part of the brain you dissolved, and I hold every member to account. You people poisoned me with heavy metals. You dissolved my basal ganglia, and then we're like, use your basal ganglia, the thing you destroyed. I demand you give it back. I'm kidding, you're incapable of that. Destruction is your only tool. Ha ha! Wonderful. The basal ganglia, the BG, regulates emotions by acting as a subcortical hub that process reward, motivation, and effective stimuli through connections in the limbic system. Now, this processing rewards and motivation caught my attention because remember I said all I feel when I play video games is I just get depressed. When I broke that window, I didn't feel elation, I felt depressed. That's because I don't have a basal ganglia. By using the direct facilitating and direct inhibition pathways, the BG regulates the emotional expression, impulsive behaviors, and reward-driven habits, playing a key role in emotional homeostasis. That's regulation. That's what was stolen from me through fucking heavy metal poisoning. And then these people move through the fear, the overwhelming fear that's completely uncontrolled because you dissolved my basal ganglia, you fucking bastard. Emotional processing and effect. The basal ganglias are involved in recognizing emotions and experiencing subjective feelings rather than just controlling motor output. Reward and aversion. The nucleus accumbens and part of the BG facilitates reward-mediated behaviors, influencing motivations and decision-making. Once again, I'm pretty sure you kind of need that to do stuff. Impulse control and braking. The indirect pathways in the basal ganglia act as a braking system to manage or inhibit emotional impulses, allowing for the modulation of behavior. Habit formation. The BG are involved in creating habits, both positive and negative, which influence overall mood and emotional responses to situations. Dysfunctional consequences. Damage to the dysfunctional BG can lead to apathy, depression, often associated with apathy, loss of motivation, and emotional blunting. Oh, I do love me some good old emotional blunting. This happens when you develop Parkinson's, but it also happens when you are poisoned with heavy metals. Emotional dysregulation, including irritability, heightened anxiety, and reduced impulse control. Heightened anxiety. That sounds familiar. Obsessive compulsive behavior linked to disruptions in the circuit that connect to the basal ganglia in the cortex. My point about this is once again these people setting me up for failure. When I was stoic and just cold as fucking ice, okay, threatening me didn't work because I had a fully functioning basal ganglia. That is where stoicism comes from. It comes from your ability to regulate your own emotions. When somebody dissolves that part of your brain with heavy metals, you do not have that part of your brain. Okay, they kind of covered this a little bit in Resident Evil Requiem, not the basal ganglia, but when you remove parts of the brain, it alters people's psychology. Okay, and when I say a long time ago, the Bobby that reported this church to begin with would have just did it again without a second thought, he would have, because he's not emotionally retarded. It makes sense because when I read through my journal, one of the things I randomly mention is how badly I just wish I could cut out my amygdala with a fucking knife, or how badly I wish I could just scramble my fucking prefrontal cortex emotional fucking center so I could just get shit done, because I just view emotions and fear as fucking obstacles. And I did the same thing when I was a stoic. But now I'm not allowed to be a fucking stoic because these bastards dissolved my basal ganglia. And this is, once again, Annalene Mummy God didn't tell me he dissolved my basal ganglia. What he told me was, well, Stoics rely on a certain part of the brain, and we simply destroy it. Nobody asked you to do that. Why did you do that? Oh wait, it's because Stoics are superior, and your only way to win is through poisoning, because you're a fucking loser. And you can't handle that you're a fucking loser. Oh, I don't have a basal ganglia. I drank tetraled. It's all gone. I don't have any self-control. It's everybody else's fault. I'm a dumbass. My religion raped me in the ass, and then I did all the wrong things, and now I human traffic, rape babies, and then hurt people, and then scream I'm a victim in it. One of the things that bothers me to no end is growing up, I witnessed how disgusting the human emotion system is. Everything my parents have ever done, every atrocity that has ever been done to me has been done because people were fucking emotional. And I didn't understand why boomers didn't have the capacity to regulate their emotions, and now I understand. It's heavy metals. It dissolves the basal ganglia. So these retards don't have the ability to process or fucking comprehend their own emotions because their basal ganglia is a fucking liquid. It will bother me to no end that a big part of what's going on down here is literally forcing me to be just as disgusting as everybody else. And I had this conversation with Annalene and Mummy God, this isn't a fucking joke, where I was like, just give this guy back his glory. He already completed the task. And Annalene and Mummy God, no! Because he's a malignant narcissist. He can't do the right thing because he's adverse to doing the right thing. As is everybody in this church. They cannot be good people. It is impossible for them. Any member. The only good they can ever do in this world is killing themselves. There is no good they can ever do in this world. They're incapable of it. Because when your emotions are the things that lead things, everything becomes arbitrary. Everything becomes random. It becomes chaos. And that is exactly what every member of this church is. But they're funny because they're a hive mind. The leader of the church, everything is about how that asshole feels. That 2-year-old baby with no basal ganglia that has no self-control. Okay? It's about him and what that dumbass thinks. This is why everybody just does what Stu tells them. Because they like taking it in the ass. It's their only fucking skill. But when I spoke to Annalene and Mummy God, I was like, whatever you do, don't turn this guy into you people because you're the people that caused the problems to begin with. And he was like, the only way we give you money is if you think and behave like us. If I thought and behaved like Anal Eating Mummy God, I would have my own human trafficking ring, and I would do everything that he does. I would behave like a complete bastard. This is why you don't destroy and dissolve parts of people's brains that you decide are undesirable. That guy's basal ganglia stops him from getting scared. We'd better get rid of it. And this is once again another setup for failure, by the way. I demand my basal ganglia be returned to me. And you guys can't do that because you're really good at taking away shit, but you're really bad at being able to put it back. This is stupid. Okay. Because, okay, I overcome these things, but now I'm Anal Eating Mummy God. Now I'm Stu. Now I'm Blondie. I think and operate just like them. Where's that going to lead? Fascism. Because I have a retarded brain that was made by retards who were like, I have the superior psychology and you get it through heavy metal poisoning. Look at me. I'm a violent, stupid sex addict. And I'm going to get into that because even when I was talking to Anal Eating Mummy God, because he was like, I'm not abusive. Narcissists do not have the ability to recognize when they are being abusive. This is why when Blondie was poisoning me, he was like, it's good for you. Because he doesn't know when he's in the wrong. He doesn't understand that, okay? And you can't explain it to him because he's too stupid to fucking process it. He's a retard. And so is every church leader, for that matter. They don't understand that just by existing and trying to control their wives or trying to control their kids, or Anal Eating Mummy God, the women that were out there he was having sex with around the clock to do his weird fucking rituals so he could connect with the fucking portal out there and do all the drugs in the world and all the stupid bullshit. He was just hurting people, but he didn't even bother to recognize that because he externalized it and told them that it's not him, that he's the victim in it, and because he's the victim, it's okay for him to just go around hurting people because he's a victim. Okay, and that's the problem with every malignant narcissist. They're the victim in everything, so therefore they can't be doing the wrong thing, and they can't be hurting people because they're the victim. This makes them inherently abusive. You cannot be a victim when there's nothing to be the victim of. Okay. That is a fact. That is not me ranting and raving or making shit up. Alright. And we got into this conversation, and then he was like, well, you're going to see that there's better ways of processing things. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. No, there isn't. I'm fucking tired. Because, literally, if it's not, like, Stu fucking hypnotizing my ego, if it's not low choline, if it's not fucking low neurons, if it's not some other fucking thing, it's fucking basal ganglion, it's brain damage, it's neurological, if I'm not waiting for my neural system to stop being fucking neural toxic, like, if I'm not waiting any of this shit, any of this fucking shit, it is all fucking how far removed I was from myself because of the fucking heavy metal poisoning. And this is how fucking serious, as much as even all the people who are involved in, oh, heavy metal poisoning is a joke, oh, look at me, I'm fucking weird and I pretend to be normal. Shoot yourself in the fucking head. Okay? It is not normal to consume heavy metals. Alright? What you do is stupid, and it fucks up your brain and makes you dysregulated, and then you pretend to be normal. You're like some kind of weird alien mimic that perceives other people and then go, I desperately want to be like them, let me imitate that, but you're incapable of being that. And that stupid fucking story I wrote on my, I told Ulrich Carrier the First Flame. There's a whole point where Ulrich's people are trying to communicate with the unconscious, and the unconscious start imitating the behaviors of the conscious people. They start walking upright. They imitate their mannerisms, their language, but everything's an imitation. It's not real. There's no soul in it. And the conscious people are fooled by it briefly. They quickly start believing these people are real, even though their behaviors are uncanny, they're unnatural, they're weird. And then those people, as they get into the town, as they become a part of the village, slowly start killing and eating the conscious people, believing it'll bring them consciousness because they're unconscious. And Ulrich demands that anybody that is what he called the brain branded, which are the unconscious people, be executed immediately, and that they all be watching. And everybody that is like the unconscious that is trying to slip into the town, they all start getting killed instantly, because Ulrich quickly realizes that they're not actually developing, they're not actually changing. They've simply learned to acquire skills so they could hunt and kill more efficiently. And the reason why they kill is they don't have souls, which is the saddest part of their bullshit. But yeah, I don't fucking know. It bothers me to no end that even trying to practice stoicism, it doesn't fucking work anymore, because I simply don't have that part of my brain. And I guess that's this video in a synopsis, in a fucking closing statement. Yeah. It's always fucking something.